Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. I am so glad you're here with us for Make It Alexandria. I'm Alyssa, your host. I am the founder of Alexandria Makers Market, and I have the good fortune of working with amazingly creative people from all around the city. So tonight I am joined by Megan Callahan from Megan C Florals, and we are going to get to know her a little bit more and dig deeper about her floral arrangement, Megan C Florals, but it is not a traditional floral company like you might think. So, Megan, I am so glad for you to join me tonight. Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Well, Megan, for those who are just meeting you for the first time, would you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So, I am a California native and moved to the DMV area coming up on 5 years ago. I lived in DC for 2 years and loved it. But I always found myself coming to Old Town Alexandria on the weekends to walk around the waterfront, go to different restaurants. And so, 2.5 years ago, my husband and I made the move out here to Alexandria, and we absolutely love it. During the day, I am a special education teacher in DC and also absolutely love that job. But in the back of my mind, there had always been this passion and inspiration from flowers. So, in college, I went to college near the LA or Los Angeles flower market. And one of my
Oh, yeah.
favorite things, yeah, one of my favorite things to do with friends was to go to the flower market on the weekend and just pick up whatever was in season, whatever caught our eye as beautiful flowers and bring them home and furnish our apartment with a ton of different flower arrangements. So while I always knew I wanted to be a teacher, I also always joked and said, well, if teaching doesn't work out, I'm going to become a florist. And people were like, okay, that sounds like fun. That sounds like a fun hobby. You can decorate your own space. And so, fast forward to April of 2020, as everyone well knows, the pandemic was starting, and a lot of us found ourselves at home with a lot of extra time, and also just needing to take a break from the screen. Um,
Yeah.
I Yes. So another thing was I still love to make live flower arrangements. And one of my favorite places to get flowers is at Trader Joe's. So I would always go to Trader Joe's, get my flowers, spend $20 and have flowers for a week or so. But once COVID hit, I didn't really want to stand in line for an hour in a line that was wrapped around the entire Trader Joe's parking lot. And so I was sort of stuck, and also sort of, okay, I'll stand in line and get my flowers, but hoping for something a little different. And so I actually found Soul of Wood flowers through Instagram's Explore page. And so these wooden flowers intrigued me. They were realistic. They looked really fun to play with and arrange, just like I was used to with live flowers. And so I decided to, place an order. And my main goal was to make my wedding bouquet. I wanted to make an arrangement that was similar to that.
Oh my gosh.
They had flowers that matched the flowers that I had. And I said, you know what? Like, I love arranging flowers. I can do this. So at that time, I didn't know that was the original investment into my business and into this side hustle that I absolutely love, and found last April, and was able to slowly make arrangements for family members for Mother's Day. And that was sort of my big push, where not only I thought, oh, this is really cool and beautiful, but other people were like, wow, these are beautiful flowers that will last years. And So it was really fun to be able to gift these and then also start selling them and start sharing this beautiful floral arrangements that I was able to create.
I love that, first of all, that this is actually something that has come out of the pandemic. I've spoken with a lot of makers who have either attempted something new for the first time because they had extra time, kind of like yourself, or just kind of picked up an old hobby that they didn't have as much time for. So there's we're looking for silver linings. I actually think that this is one of them. So I think this is a super cool thing to come out of the pandemic for you specifically. And so my question is, at what point did you kind of decide, like, okay, I've given these to some friends, I've given these to some families, like, I think I might take the leap. So that you started kind of in April. At what point in this journey did you just say, okay, I'm going for it?
Yeah, it was really, I think, in the fall of 2020 when other people started asking me questions or started asking my friends and family questions like, where did you get that? And when they, were able to say, my daughter makes it or my friend makes it, they were shocked and really wanted to know more or wanted to purchase one for their own gift or for their own home. And I was able to open up my Etsy store in January, made it official for 2021. Really, I was able, in the last months and really the last year to figure out my own craft and creating the arrangements, but also some of the business aspects like shipping and things that aren't as fun, but are, a really important part of owning a business.
Very important. That's absolutely true. Yes, you are the janitor, you're the shipping manager, you're all of it, I have to assume.
Yes, yep. I do it all. And it's really fun and also, challenging. I think I'm learning new skills. Business manager, social media, marketing is it's not really one of my strengths. As a classroom teacher, it's not in my skill set, but I'm learning to develop those skills and learn to love it as well.
That is, and to plug that, you've done obviously well enough. That is how we connected, was through Instagram, and I don't know if one of us reached out to the other, I don't remember, but I just remember thinking, holy cow, wait, stop. And you're going through your feed and you just think, wait a minute, this is something so different. This is so cool. And so it's definitely just kind of a scroll stopper instead of a show stopper. But so, and the other thing that I really appreciate about your work, so tell us about this, for example, because this is not a bouquet necessarily or an arrangement, but tell us about these items.
Yeah, so these were a custom order, and my client wanted some shelves and hooks to hang her newborn daughter's bows and headbands and all of the accessories that sometimes just end up in a drawer. And she wanted something beautiful. And she was like, I have these shelves. Can you put your flowers on them? And I said, absolutely. So the flowers actually come flat. So I have to dye and like fluff and stem all of them. So this was something that I was able to do with the flowers. They're really versatile. And it's actually hanging up in her room, and it's full of bows right now, but it's so cute and something that even my client was like, well, when my daughter's outgrown this, I'm going to use this with my jewelry and different things like that, which is great. It can last, as long as you want it to last.
And this I love as well. I'm not sure which age range or what the client was going for, but I just think this is so fun.
Thank you. So this actually went with the bow hanger.
Cool.
A lot of the flowers are similar colors and similar roses, and they actually pair together on a wall in the nursery right now really nicely. But I've done this where, you know, you can cover a whole letter for a first name or a last name, for a bedroom, or even I've done other letters with just a few, you know, sparse flowers for a hallway or a gallery wall. That's something that I've seen in a lot of homes right now. It's really trendy. And so it's fun to, you know, add pops of color and also some flowers and greenery as you can.
Well, and I think also that is kind of a less traditional, but still really fun way to include that in your decor, that I don't think that I would have thought about prior to this.
Yes.
And so we saw some of those other arrangements. And so when you're working, are you thinking specifically about like, I'm going to use these types of flowers? We understand that they're not real, but they mimic, you know, the real ones. What are you thinking about in terms of your colors choices and your choices of the types of flowers? Are there some that speak to you more than others?
Ooh, great question. So, first of all, when I'm picking the flowers, I really like to think about textures and mixing the different textures. So, for example, some of them might have a little more of a deeper texture, have a little bit more detail to them. And so I like to mix those with some that maybe are a little, you know, more flat or round. So for example, I love mixing roses and zinnias and ranunculus, because they all have such unique shapes and they're able to sort of come together to make this beautiful dynamic arrangement. For color schemes, I like to use, you know, some complementary colors and then also just colors that I think don't naturally occur together. For example, like some of the purples, we don't really always see purple flowers, but they look really beautiful in someone's home, or someone might be decorating with those colors and they just complement that space perfectly. So this piece actually was a custom order and is actually, you know, one of my favorites that I've done recently. The client came to me and said, I have this vase and I want to put it right here. And so I was able to use the colors in the picture and also in that little key holder there to color the flowers, so that it all sort of like complements and mixes well together. And some of those have been my favorite pieces where someone sends me a photo and says, what could I put here? And I'm able to give them an idea. And then we're able to create something together that's very personalized and fit for that specific space.
I can imagine. And then, like you said, were you creating your wedding bouquet or recreating?
So sort of recreating it. I was trying to get like the colors, but also like there's very specific flowers that I like. So I'll be honest, when I was getting married, flowers were my number one priority. And I met with maybe like 3 or so florists to make sure that I could have my Juliet roses, my ranunculus, and my peonies. And if they were not able to get those flowers, then unfortunately I wasn't able to go with them. So I was trying to get those. I was able to find like the roses and the ranunculus, and do the same colors. And I really loved, you know, how it turns out. And I still have it. It's the centerpiece on our kitchen table, where we eat our dinners.
Oh, I love that. I do think that there's something really, really special there. But I think so I didn't know if you meant you like walked down the aisle with them, and I thought, oh, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about how you dye them, because I think that that is such an interesting process.
Yeah, so I hand dye all of the flowers, and dyeing actually is the part of the process that takes the longest. When the flowers are made out of like a tapioca root, and so they're really pliable, they're flexible, they absorb water, and so when you dip them in water, they're, you know, you're able to shape them. So when I do my dyes, it's a special dye, and so I'm trying to create colors that will look well together. So some are, a simple dye with one color, and some are more complex, like these flowers. This was a custom order where a client wanted the two-tone roses with red and white. And so that process involved an initial dye and then hand painting them and then going through another process to get that gradient sort of look. And so each job is different. Some of them have hand painted parts, like the cherry blossoms for your spring subscription box that I know we'll talk about a little bit later. But those I was able to dye the pink, and then I hand dyed the middle to give it that really great 3D look and make them as lifelike as possible to represent the cherry blossoms that we know and love and see all around this time of year.
Well, and so yeah, let's talk about that. So first of all, I'm kind of actually impressed because this goes well beyond floral arrangements. This you've learned, like I just feel like this is kind of a whole different atmosphere of the dyeing and the painting, and were you expecting that when you were dipping your toes in the water with this?
I don't think I was. I think I had a very one-track mind, like, let's play with like pinks and whites and creams that, people usually like. And I'll be honest, the clients that I have and people that I interact with have such great ideas that I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have thought about that. Like, let me try it. And so that's actually how, those two tones flowers came out. I said, I'm new to this. I've never done anything like this, but I would love to do it for you for this specific gift. Let me try it out. And so that's where I was able to practice and really honestly just learn different styles of painting and dyeing and what works and what doesn't. And, like even the temperature of the water can make a difference with the color. Oh. And so like getting that just right or changing it for lighter colors or darker colors. And so it has been really cool and something that was very unexpected.
I just think that's really interesting. And and like so many other business owners, you mentioned the shipping and, kind of the behind the scenes, but it sounds like there was actually quite a lot that you took on head first and just said, yeah, let me try it. And with that, one of the ways that we connected was that those cherry blossoms were one of the items in the Alexandria Makers Market spring subscription box. And that is something I really appreciate about you. I said, hey, your wooden arrangements are super cool. Have you ever done cherry blossoms? And you said, well, let me try. And that just speaks volumes about you. And most of the makers that are here in the city have that gung-ho attitude and just like, you know what, this is new, but let me try it. So I think that you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. They're so beautiful. And we've received a lot of compliments on that arrangement. So I don't know if that's what you envisioned when we were like initially talking, but they were so perfectly executed. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. They were so fun to make. And even I like went through trial and error with those, like getting the inside, like, do I hand paint them? Do I dye them? Like water mixtures. And so that was also a great learning experience and really fun. So I was super excited for that collaboration. And I'm glad that other people are enjoying them as well.
Yeah, no, they're great. Then talk to us a little bit more. We've seen some of your kind of non-traditional, non-arrangement work. I'm not sure what to call that, but not a bouquet. And we've kind of hinted around people having custom work for you now. But talk to me then about just kind of the projects you're working on right now, and how people can get a hold of you for custom opportunities.
Absolutely. So I make really any size arrangements from small, wooden boxes or similar to the small ceramic boxes that were the cherry blossoms to like larger arrangements. I've done like up to 10 inches so far. And so I currently, Mother's Day is coming up. And so I'm working on some arrangements that are fairly neutral, beautiful colors that could work in anyone's home in any space. And so I currently am working on those. And also I have a couple of custom orders that are really specific to flowers that remind clients of somebody in their life, maybe a spouse or a grandparent. I also am working on a wedding bouquet right now, which is super exciting. The flowers and colors are very different than anything I've ever done before. And so I'm really excited to see that final project come to life and also get to work with some new styles of flowers. And to start that process, I do have some arrangements in my Etsy shop that I've made, for like Valentine's Day or Mother's Day coming up. And then I also have a custom order button where if you're interested in something, one of a kind, like an initial, or you have a vase in a very specific spot in your home that you want the wood flowers for that will never die and you never have to water them, I can work with you to, price that out, get the right colors, and see what might work best for your space.
That's so cool. What if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, I'm trying to give a gift. Maybe it's for like a teacher who you don't know as well. What are some of your recommendations of just like always crowd pleasing arrangements or types of flowers, colors? What would you recommend to that person?"
Yes. So I actually have a couple that I could show that are pretty versatile, if that's okay. So these are some of the wood boxes. I found that these are really great gifts because they're small, so they can go on someone's desk, they could go on a shelf, they can really go anywhere, and on a teacher's desk. And I use a lot of like pinks and whites and yellows because they're colors that complement other colors like blues, grays, and you can use them a lot. The flowers in these are similar to ranunculus here in the yellow. And then this is actually like a rustic red color with white. And these are carnations. Carnations are classic. They always go over well. Another great flower that I think actually might be one of my favorites is the zinnia right here. It has stars. It gives you a really beautiful texture and also goes well with any color. And so those are very versatile, can really go anywhere in someone's home, and are a good place to start if you're trying to find an arrangement for a gift.
Those are beautiful. And I kind of see how they're just kind of neutral. They're not bright or bold, but really classic. So those are gorgeous. I thought of a question that I've been meaning to ask you for a while. Could you do this with any sort of wood? Does it need to be the solo wood, or can I just start whittling something I find in my backyard? I don't know.
So the wood that is used for the solo wood, so it's typically like a tapioca root or like balsa wood. And both of those woods are really thin. And so I unfortunately don't carve the flowers myself, but I do source them from two women-owned companies who do make them by hand. One of them's in Utah and one of them's in North Carolina. And so like the tapioca root is very long. And so they almost like they carve like strips, and then they're able to like cut them so that the edges are their desired shape, and then roll them together and sew them. So if you wanted to, you could, but I think it would depend on, the type of wood that you find. I don't think that a lot of woods are, the soft woods that would come off in long sheets.
Mhm.
I wouldn't recommend, going to your local home store and getting, a 2x4. I don't even know if that's the right length, and carving it. It might look a little bit, it would look different than these flowers, because even after they're dyed and arranged, they're still very soft. I use a special process to make sure that, they keep some of their softness and really look lifelike.
I'm giggling because Mary, our fearless zebra leader, would like to see me whittling, or so.
I love that.
I just didn't know if that was something I could try out or not. So
You
um,
could. I mean, a rose is always a classic shape. People are making charcuterie roses out of salami and, different things.
oh
You could
yeah,
maybe try it with some wood and
hey, that's the motto, right? Let's just try it. I'll bring it back to you. I'll let you know how my project goes. So,
all right, that sounds great.
yeah. um, so they're really, your work, it really is beautiful. And the more that we talk, the more I realize, really, just in the span of a year, how much you've just dived headfirst into and really excelled at what you're doing. And so, oh my goodness, and Mary just ordered. So thank you,
Oh,
Mary.
thank
um,
you.
oh, cake frosting. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. They were suggesting I try my flowers with cake frosting. So that is probably an easier place to start and much more delicious.
Yes.
So, um, so anyway, I would just love to know a little bit more about what 2021 has in store for you. You're coming up on your 1 year anniversary of where you began. What does the rest of this year look like for you?
Yes. So this year, I would love to do more custom orders. I would love to connect with more people in Alexandria who have, a specific vase and a specific vision that I can bring to life for them. Another one of my big goals, and is really dependent on the current health conditions, is doing some in-person pop-ups. I was so thankful to be a part of your Alexandria Makers Market March of Makers, which was so fun. But I would love to do, a couple of in-person events this year to get to really see people in person. I absolutely love hearing the stories behind people's orders, whether it's for someone who's in the hospital or a birthday present or just because. That makes what I'm doing just feel so much more personal and fun. And so I love hearing those stories. And so those are really my two big goals for me this year. And I'm excited to hopefully meet those goals.
Yeah, no, I agree. The in person, obviously dependent, but I think it's going to happen. So I'm really, really excited for you, and excited to see where this next year in business takes you. Would you please tell everybody where to find you? Mary already figured it out, but where, if somebody wanted to order, where might they find you?
Yes. So my store is on Etsy. And if you go to Etsy, in the search bar, you can search Megan, Megan, C Florals. And you can find my shop that way. You'll see a ton of different arrangements that I have available. I can do, local pickup, or I can ship them within the US. There's also a custom order button on the left-hand side. And if you click that, it sends me a message, and we could get to talking about, what you want to fit your personalized space. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook as Megan C Florals, and there I love sharing, what I'm working on, different client arrangements that I've done, and how they might look in your home, so you can get a better idea of what you might want for a custom order.
That's so fun. I hope that everybody will kind of stop what you're doing, pause for a moment, and go follow her, just to make sure that you keep up with everything that she's working on. But Megan, again, I just have to say thank you, first of all, for your arrangement for the spring subscription box. It was a hit for everyone. and of course for being part of March of Makers, which just wrapped up. Today's first day of April, so that was a lot of fun for me as well, and it was just really great to get to know all the makers on a deeper level. So just a lot of fun, and I'm glad you were part of all of it. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. And it was great to be on here tonight, and also interact with different people on Instagram. I have really enjoyed interacting with different local Alexandria people. So thank you so much.
The best. Yeah, yes, of course. We will. I don't know that this is the last time you will. This is definitely not the last time. I want to make sure I said that right. That hopefully you will see Megan C Florals and Alexandria Makers Market together. So yeah, Megan, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Alyssa.
You guys, if you loved her floral arrangement, please go and check out her work. And I will also encourage you to go. I'll shamelessly plug our subscription box, because what I do is find local makers and ask them to kind of contribute a seasonal item. And then we keep that under wraps and a mystery. So, yep, there's our spring one. It was delivered about 2 weeks ago. So now we are sourcing for our summer box. And so that will have a different feel, bright sunshine, all the good things that we need for the summertime here in the city. And so you can get those details on my website, alexandriamakersmarket.com. But let me also, I'm going to use my cheat sheet. Let me also tell you about what's coming up next week on ZTV, okay? Because you're not going to want to miss on Monday, Living on Music with Steve Hauk, and his guest star, Andy Watts, which is Israel's revered ambassador of the blues, supreme guitarist, and record producer. Tuesday, we have Meet the Author Live on Reading, Writing, and Ralph with guest Irene Whitting, author of All That Lingers, a gripping novel about survival during World War II. And Wednesday, Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Lauren Fisher. And she is going to have Dr. Lola Capps for What's That Pain? Dr. Lola Capps owns the Chrysalis Chiropractic, and they will talk about tuning into your body, understanding your pain, and how to take care of your best self. And then you guys join me back here on Thursday for Make It Alexandria, and I'm going to have Leah of Modern Tally, and she will get to know a little bit more about her business, which is all about hand-sewn items, a lot of reading accessories. I know we have a lot of readers that are in the Zebra audience, and just all that we need to organize our life. So we all need a little bit of what Leah has, and it's going to be good. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Another special thank you to Susan, who is producing currently, and to Megan for joining me as my guest tonight. You guys, as you go out into this world, try to support local as much as possible. Make it Alexandria always, and go and be the good news in someone's life.